Hey, this is Tobi Antigha of your Saskatchewan Roughriders here on the Rider Outsiders podcast.
Welcome to the Rider Outsiders, where we talk CFL football and your Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm Mitch Wiles with Dylan Robson and the self-professed genius of Canadian football, Bryce Wiles. Gentlemen.
Howdy.
Good to be here. Looking forward to this one, I tell you what.
And tonight, we start with some news. There's reports that Hall of Fame receiver, NFL receiver Terrell Owens has tried out for the Roughriders. Chris Jones tried him out during the bye week here. Bryce, Dylan, should Chris Jones sign Terrell Owens?
Well, I saw that where he was working out with Jones because they're in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Jones just said that he needed to get back into football shape. And I don't know if we should sign him. We got a kind of player similar to Terrell with Carter. And I just kind of makes me think about that time when Terrell Owens was playing with San Francisco and ran back to the Dallas like center field star and then got smoked by that other player. And I don't know, he might be a bit of a distraction.
Dylan?
The thing about Terrell Owens is, hey, if I told you we got a, what is he, 6'5", I don't know what he is, receiver who was great in college, who could run, to this day is running the 40-yard dash in like a 4.4.
4.4,
I think they said he was 4.43 this past weekend or whatever it was. Do you take a shot on him? Sure. Yeah, take a shot on him. It's football, man. I'm not going to say I don't want to see Terrell Owens come down to Mosaic Stadium and make a few catches for us. If he's able to play, if Terrell Owens can get into the shape that Chris Jones needs him in, then hell, sign him. I'd love to watch Terrell Owens come rip up Mosaic Stadium. Maybe he doesn't have what it takes anymore to play football. I don't know. I wasn't at the training camp, or I wasn't at the tryout, the workout, I should say. But there's a lot of people online getting a little excited in both directions. But, I think it's just fun. That's fun. Let's bring him. Last week, I think I said don't bring him. And this week, it's always maybe he's coming. Let's bring him.
So now that it sounds like he might be on the Riders negotiation list, that we're working him out. I'm not sure if that's how it's working. Sign him. Bring him in. It sounds exciting. Can't wait to have him in Regina. All right, what's next?
Well, I think you know what's next. Bryce, you know what's next. Let's get to the quick hits.
First up, Johnny Manziel makes his first start in Montreal. He passed for 11 for 20, 55%, and here's the big one. 4 interceptions, folks. 4 interceptions. What'd you guys think of Johnny Manziel's first start in Montreal?
Well, I think it set the tone there when his first pass was an interception. And then he threw another 3 interceptions just in the first quarter. So maybe they took a chance. He was trying to make stuff happen, and it didn't pay out for Johnny Money Manziel this week.
Yeah, is it too early to put Manziel in there? Probably, but at the same time, he needed to get this game out of the way, and there's no way his second performance is going to be as bad as this one was. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Had they not started him and they did that game, the crowd would have been saying, where the hell's Johnny Football? But they did start him and they got this. And so he's got to get this game out of the way with. Now that it's out of the way, I don't anticipate smooth sailing, but the waters will get a little more calm for him. He said at the end of the game, simple quote, "This game humbles you, man." Yeah, that was a pretty humbling performance. So welcome to the CFL, Johnny.
Yeah, that was the question. I missed the question. So did Montreal start him too early, or is this the best way to get up to speed? So you're saying it's just throw him in there. If they don't, they're going to lose anyways, right? With who's their backup in Montreal?
Yeah, I think Adams is good. I don't know if he could have won the game, but like I said, if they need Johnny Football in there, there's no point in waiting.
Yeah,
he needs to get that ugliness out of the way, and he's going to improve.
And Bryce, did you think it was too soon?
I like the call.
I like the call. So we all like the call. Throw him in there, even if it's a big loss. Okay.
Sink or swim. Just get him in. Get him on the field.
Moving on. CFL.ca came out with rankings of quarterbacks in the CFL. Zach Collaros ranked number 8 out of 9, only above Johnny Manziel. Dylan, is this a fair assessment?
No, it's not fair, and it's not fair because they didn't have a whole lot to go on Zach Collaros. Had he played more of the season so far, we would have had a better idea on where he is, and he wouldn't be ranked 8th.
I don't know. Rankings, they don't really mean that much. I think what really means the most for these guys, for these quarterbacks, these athletes, is getting wins.
Well, that wasn't the question, Bryce. The question was about the rankings. Because who's ranked number 1? Because we're going to talk about the rankings a little bit. Bo Levi topped the list. He has his Stampeders 7-0. They just beat BC last week, which brings me to the question: is Bo Levi Mitchell the best quarterback in the league? Is it pretty safe to say he is?
Well, I mean, you can look at Mitchell's arm and the way he's passing it deep, and you can look at his record. They're 7-0. He knows how to win. So yeah, of course he should be number 1, best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, Bo Mitchell. You can call him Bo. I like to call him just plain old BM. That's just me though. So the thing with Bo Mitchell is he's on such a good team. Every part of Calgary's team executes so well. So it's hard for me to say offense is great because BM is behind the center. I think Mike Riley is easily comparable to Bo Levi Mitchell. Those two guys, they're excellent. So it's a coin toss between them, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. But here's what gets me. Number 7th on the list, McLeod Bethel Thompson. That's Toronto's quarterback. He led Toronto to a last-second victory, a win in his first start ever in the league. Did he have a great game? He had a great second half. They put up 35 points in the second half, threw for 4 touchdowns, 300 yards. But to rank this guy above Zach, or does it matter, Bryce?
Well, yeah, I think just what Dylan was saying, Zach Collaros hasn't been playing. So there's really not a lot to go on. And Bethel Thompson had a really good first CFL start there, way better than Johnny Manziel's. So is he 7th? So that means he's better, the 1 ranking above Collaros. Sure, for now. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of funny because that means that they're basically doing the rank. The bottom 3 were guys who've played 1 game of football, and based on that one, I mean, Collaros has had he played in week 1 and week 2, but in the past 3 weeks or 4 weeks, he's only played the 1 game. So they're ranking the guys who played 1 game of football in the last 4 weeks, and they're all at the bottom. So I guess that does say something about how much content they have to judge those rankings on. Bethel Thompson was, I think they really just like the idea of pushing this young guy who gave us an exciting game and an exciting comeback. So yeah, let's put him up higher on the list because, that's exciting for the league. And I think that's more of a case of politics than it is about peak ability.
Okay, moving on. Riders versus Edmonton, a 26-19 loss. This is a game that the Riders could have won, and they had a lead briefly, but they just couldn't stop Edmonton in the 4th quarter when they needed to. And it got away from them. It was a tough one to watch. Dylan, talk us through this game. What did you see?
Well, it was an entertaining game. I'm going to start out by saying that. I think Edmonton had an early 3rd down gamble. I think it was, and I was debating whether or not they actually got that 1st down. And then there was a questionable challenge where we got the touchdown, and then it was called back. That was... So to me, those were very similar plays, and they both went for Edmonton's favor there. I think that was pretty significant. Our short yardage game, dear God, so frustrating.
Yeah, so that was a touchdown, right? That got called back. It was a turnover on the 1, correct?
Well, yeah, it was the. I remember the short yardages. They got stopped twice in the first quarter there, and then they eventually went to Thigpen to run it in. And then in the third quarter, Caleros fumbled it. And then Watford went for the sneak on 3rd and 1. On the 1, the goal line formation, and they can't punch it in. And then, of course, Riley shows how to do the quarterback sneak with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter to take the lead there, 19-23.
How many times did we have to try to get a yard in the past 2 weeks of football and have been unable to do that? The Watford situation there on the first couple attempts where he tried to plunge through to the goal line, if you watch, I think it was his second QB sneak attempt, he's telegraphing his entire play. He's lined up for the snap, and his whole head and body is already leaned towards the direction in which he plans on plunging. And then the ball snaps, and he gets cut off right away. And I could see it as it was happening. Like, he's got to tell, and sure enough, they stuffed him. So we were lucky that we got in there with Thigpen. Was it shotgun draw, or was that the college option? What was that? Thigpen got in on.
He got the ball a couple yards deep, that's for sure.
Yeah, we were lucky there.
And he almost got stopped. Like, he had to make a move, 3 yards deep to get around a guy to get in. So yeah, lucky on that touchdown for sure.
And I think Edmonton's early, wide open, long bomb play to who was that? Was that
Walker?
Terrell Walker.
Coverage. Yeah,
and that was Marshall, right? So Marshall's back, and Duron Carter doesn't have to play that position anymore. So Marshall's back, blows the coverage, and I believe Chris Jones said after the game something along the lines of, "Marshall blew the play. I don't know what in the world he was thinking," because he just obviously he's back from 6 weeks of injury.
Yeah, so a little behind.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he hurt his hand again in the second half, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of balls thrown his way. I wouldn't be surprised if he's off the roster, back injured, because I think he was out 6 weeks with a broken hand.
Yeah, and Riley was really connecting with Walker. There 6 receptions for 154 yards and 1 TD. He was lighting up the Riders.
Yeah, it's one of their go-to guys.
Yeah, and that same big play, Tobi Antigha came off on a blitz where he was actually playing safety. Remember, he's registered as a D lineman. He was playing safety, came in on a blitz. The blitz got picked up, and then they went to his side. So the reason he was playing safety, of course, was because there was an issue with submitting the roster to the CFL. I don't even need to go into the details of that.
Well, let's talk about that.
God.
My goodness.
What a mess.
So they submitted a roster with Derek Moncrief on it, who's on the 6-game injury list, and they were forced to what was it called? Scratch a linebacker they were planning on playing at Elam, a guy they signed a couple weeks ago. So yeah, they were playing down a man for the whole game, and they said it happened more than once. I'm not sure if that means it happened earlier this season, but holy smokes, get your stuff in order. What were you thinking when you first heard that?
It was. You know what? It's one of those things where when people make fun of the CFL, and I try to defend it, but every now and then something happens where I can't even defend that. First of all, Jones said they had too many copies of the roster, and they were all different copies, and so they handed in the wrong copy. Well, you think the CFL would have something in place where, sorry, we handed in the wrong copy. Can we make an amendment? The guy who's starting isn't even here. You'd think there would be something where we could say, let's just amend this one thing so we don't fly a player out here for absolutely no reason so we can sit on the bench. It makes no sense. Why wouldn't the CFL let them amend it? And if it was too late, then I guess it's the Riders' fault, and it's just as disgraceful.
Can you imagine being the player and the coach sits you down and goes, we didn't put you on the roster. Sorry about that. Just bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who had a really good series there was Trey Mason at the end, where he had that big blowout 42-yard run. And then a couple plays later, he had that 13-yard screen pass to kind of set up that botched goal line attempt at a touchdown that would have put the Riders ahead.
What the commentators were saying about Trey Mason is they were wondering if having Jerome Messam off the team now and having Mason on the field more, maybe that's helped get the mojo going for him, because he would come in for a handful of plays a game, but now it's just between him and Thigpen. Do you think that it might help to just have the 2 running backs on the roster?
I like it. I like I like both those two running. They're similar running backs, but they're not. They don't have a power running back, but I think it's a good kind of combo.
I love the power running back position. Neil Hughes, Chris Zarka, I'm trying to think of some old guys from back in the day. Milton Jones, maybe.
Oh yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that style, and it's so important to have. When we're struggling on 1 yard plays, there should be a guy on the team who can just get that no matter what, and we don't have it.
Well, Watford is a big dude. He should be able to get 1 yard. Let's see. So Brandon Bridge didn't throw a pass this game. This is after sort of being the starting quarterback while Claros was out. Are we all happy with Zach being the number one guy?
Oh, I am very happy with Claros. Like, I think you can really tell how much better he is than Brandon Bridge. I love Brandon Bridge too, but Claros is just, you can tell the way he comes up and he's reading the defense. He's calling audibles. He's changing the play. When he's in there, he's going through his reads. He's going through the checkdowns. He's got a good play action, and you saw him with the deep threat, and he hooked up with Carter for that deep touchdown pass. And he's kind of got the total package. He's in the pocket, but he can also roll out, and we also saw him run. So I think he's like a complete athlete quarterback.
Yeah, he just seemed way more confident than Bridge has played all year. So, just on this one game alone, Claros, the confidence was through the roof. Now,
I threw out a tweet there that our boy Brett Laher was going to get the winning field goal kick with a tight matchup, and it nearly took place. He had that 33-yarder. Again, he's playing well, and it's going to be hard to take him off the field. Any concerns with the kicking game?
My concern with the kicking game, not from Brett Laher, from our punting core. Every time we seem to do the big, high-hanging punt. The Edmonton game has been a little better, but the idea of the high punt is that your team gets the coverage and to make the tackle right away. How many times have we gotten no yards this season, and it just cancels that out? And how many touchdowns have we given up, or massive punt returns have we given up? So, to me, when you're talking special teams, I think our punts are the worst part of our special teams right now. So it's not a knock on Josh Bartel's punting. I think it's the strategy. I think we're planning to do these high punts, and I just don't think our coverage is necessarily doing the job there. So,
well, I'm actually seeing a lot of special teams this year get really great punt returns. It seems like there's been a lot of punt return touchdowns in the CFL this year, and it's only like halfway through. It's almost like every week when somebody breaks a touchdown punt return.
Oh my God! Speaking of that, didn't we have Deron Carter on punt return duty?
Yeah, once or twice it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, he took one too, and it's just when you have that tall, money receiver catching punts with the entire special teams that's hungrier than any. Yeah, trying to kill him.
Yeah, they're running.
It's like, just go down, just go down. Don't even.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to be the right body type for kick returns, anyways. Now, he did run like an interception back for a touchdown, so I get it. But it seems like those small, speedy guys are what most teams go to, like our guy, Christian Jones. He's having an okay year, pretty good year.
He's having a great year.
Yeah, he was leading. Wasn't he leading in punt return yards?
He's leading something.
Yeah,
and
he's got it. Yes. He's got it, some record or something.
Nice. We're on top of it. And then as a little shout out to JWL, he topped receivers for the game, or at least for the Riders, with 4 catches, 86 yards. No touchdown though, so he still doesn't have a ball to take home. If you missed last episode, go take a listen to that interview. He gave away his game ball, or his touchdown ball. Yeah,
JWL. He looked awesome. It was great. Oh, yeah. Great to see him because he was easily the standout receiver of the game. Not just literally, but you could see it as the game's going on, how hot he was getting.
And not to toot their own horn here, but another tweet: JWL played beside Carter, so it was going to make sense that he was going to get open. I thought he'd have a big game, and that was one of his bigger games for sure. Anything else on the game before we move on to our interview with Tobi Antigha?
Well, I just have to say that the Riders had like 2 chances to kind of come back and win it dramatically, but just couldn't put it together, and it was still a really exciting football game to watch. Lots of lead changes, lots of nice big plays, and it was a great game.
But I knew it. Once that big, Riley had that big second down throw that in the fourth quarter that got them over midfield, and you just could feel that was it.
You know what's hilarious about that second down, or that big pass you just mentioned? Because we had the live mic, you could hear Chris Jones throughout times of the game. And if you go back and listen, you can even hear it on the CFL.ca game recap. That play, there's like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Riley airs it out, and you can hear Jones in the background. You just hear this. Oh my God. And that's pretty much what we're all thinking. Stafford makes this circus catch, including wrapping the defender's arm around to make the catch as well. Like it was.
Oh yeah, like he used the Ryder guy to catch the ball. It was ridiculous.
Yes, but Riley, so frustrating. Like heart attack, having a stroke, kind of frustrating. How many tackles did he dodge in the back? He must have avoided. There was times there was 3 sacks a play that he's evading and then running for a first down, or a little less than a first down. And so frustrating.
Very frustrating. Yeah, it's tough. You can call it entertaining, but it's tough to watch once you realize it's like, oh no, it's going to be very difficult to come back from this. Tobi Antigha is coming up, the all-purpose lineman, safety, linebacker.
I like to call this position the wherever I may roam position. Just a couple things on this interview to listen for. He breaks down the interception he got in the Calgary game against our good friend BM Levi Mitchell, and it's really great insight. If you ever wonder what a player is thinking as that ball is coming towards them, or how they're seeing the play just before that ball gets passed, listen to how he describes it, and you can even go back and listen a couple times because it's that cool. You just really get into his headspace for that pick 6 that he did. And another thing I thought that it interests me is I asked him about the 24-0 deficit that the Riders were in against Calgary in the first quarter, and how the team remains calm. And I thought that was another really cool answer. He's really great at just expressing the headspace and how the football game is from the team perspective, because we as fans, we see it one way, but imagine how those players, he's good at describing that. So great interview.
Okay, here it is.
Here I am, Dylan Robson, on the sidelines of the Saskatchewan Roughriders practice. Here with Tobi Antigha, defensive lineman for the Saskatchewan Roughriders 2017, most outstanding rookie for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I mentioned there, you're listed as a defensive lineman, but you kind of have unique position throughout the team. Can you just explain that a little bit?
I basically go wherever I'm needed. Coach just kind of tells me to do a lot of different things. So, he gives me the ability to line up everywhere. So sometimes I'll be in the secondary, sometimes I'll be at linebacker, or the other times I'll be at defensive end. So, there's really no position on the field that I haven't lined up at yet. That's just kind of how it goes over here.
So earlier this year in an interview, you said, I'm everywhere. Pretty soon I'll invent a new position. Have you or Coach Jones talked about what that new position would be called?
I don't really know. We kind of just call it like a rover or a roamer position. I don't know exactly where that would be, like a specifically called position. But for now, we just call it rover or roamer. He just says Toby, so I just kind of go along with it.
I'm a big fan of Metallica, so wherever I may roam, that sounds pretty cool to me. So I was watching some of your college highlights before I came here, and you were playing receiver in college. Can you describe what that was like to go from receiver, to starting defense here in the Riders?
Tough, hard, difficult, lengthy process, but reaping the benefit. The reaping the rewards of it now. But back in college, it was great playing receiver. Knowing that the plays had to come through me in order for us to have a good chance of winning. Coming to the defensive side of the ball, it's not so much about going out and making the play. It's more so making the plays that come to you. That's one of the adjustments that I had to make. Transitioning. But once I get that down, I'm having more success out here.
So you had a big pick six interception here against Calgary. Can you just sort of slow it down for the listeners and just describe, from the moment you saw that ball get released and saw it coming towards you, what that was like for you? What's it like for you to get an interception? Just to tell the fans.
Well, for me, that was the easiest part. The easiest part was seeing the ball in the air, but, we lined up, I got the call, and then I made my way to the middle of the field, and I saw that the number 3 receiver went inside, and then my eyes shifted to number 1, and I saw that number 1 did a shallow route. So once number 1 did a shallow route, I kind of anticipated that number 2 would be on a corner. Bo Levi threw the ball, and at that point, it just becomes natural. It's been like you've been doing that since you were little, so, go find the ball and make a play on it.
Is there sort of like a moment where you think, before you even get the ball, you think, yep, I got this one?
Yeah, it was like right when he threw it. Like once I saw the angle of the ball, I was like, yeah, I'm about to make a play on this. In my head, I was either going to make a play on the ball or I was going to make a big hit. But the ball, sailed a little bit to where I can make a play on the ball, and that's what I did.
And so Roughrider fans, notorious for being super passionate and vocal. The fans, they get passionate and they panic a little bit when a team is down 24-0. What about you as a player? What goes through your mind when you see those scores start to pile up?
It's frustrating at first because you kind of realize, especially with this team, we're a better team than that. So we're just frustrated that we put a product on the field, but we never think we're out of a game. We had the game within grasp, 5 points, in the third quarter, but unfortunately, we gave up a touchdown late. But when we're down 24-0, it's just a mentality of chopping wood, let's get points on the board, one drive, defense, hold them, offense, put something together, defense, hold them again. It's just a process of limiting their big plays and capitalizing on what they give us.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the composure of the defense for sure, because it was almost like the second quarter was just a fresh start, and you guys held Calgary to, although they didn't score again until late in the third quarter, I think it was. So maintaining your composure, that's impressive. Is that something that's coached in a team atmosphere, or how do you guys manage to stay that way?
It's partly coaching and then partly just the veteran leadership on the team. You have guys like JJ, Cresden, guys that have played football for a long time, been in situations like this, and when you see their composure on the sidelines, it kind of helps you to stay composed and even keel, because they've been there before, they've mounted comebacks, so it's easily possible to do it again. So when you have veteran leadership in the locker room, guys that have been there and done it and played a lot of football, it's always easier to kind of relax and take each play for its play, play by play instead of quarter by quarter.
Yeah, from the stands, it looked like quite a battle. The game just looked like a war out there. Did it feel like that for you guys?
Yeah, we knew coming in there was going to be a dogfight. Unfortunately, we spotted them 24 points in the first quarter, but we knew it was going to be a tough game. And they came with their best, and they outperformed us a little bit.
So how do you take this experience from the Calgary game to Edmonton? And what lessons do you take to Edmonton?
Just fixing the little things, penalties, and then assignments, just being in the right place at the right time, and obviously coming out hotter, coming out faster, coming out with more energy, because I think that's what ultimately, led to our demise on Saturday. Is we came out with not as energized as we needed to be, and that enabled them to get a 24-0 jump start on us. But once the game started settling down, you kind of saw that we kind of settled down and we kind of rallied together. But going into Edmonton, we can't give Mike Riley a lead at all. Like we got to be on our P's and Q's, defensively, and then look forward to having a great effort on defense.
Now, in college, I was watching the highlights, you're number 84. So that's JWL right now, Jordan Williams-Lambert. So did you guys talk about that number, or who decided who gets that, or did it matter to you? And how did you end up choosing the number that you have right now?
Well, when I got here, it was funny because in rookie minicamp, I was number 72, that was ugly on me. And then I made the team, and then I got stuck with 92. I didn't want it, but as a rookie, you kind of just take what they give you. And then, so I played my whole rookie year with 92. And then this offseason, since we signed Zach Evans loves 92. So, they kind of just texted me and said, hey, you need to pick a new number. And, I just kind of looked at the list, looked at the roster, see what numbers was available. I was like, well, 0 is kind of an odd number, so I'll just pick 0, try to make 0 mine. So,
yeah, it definitely stands out for the fans. Fans always love talking about numbers. I love talking about the numbers too. I know there's been some notable number 0s in Saskatchewan as well. But just real quick here, have you had a chance to have your family come up from the States to watch any of your games in person?
Oh yeah, my mom and my aunt were here. What game was that? They were here a couple weeks ago. My mom and my aunt came last year too. So I have different people around the area that come up here and see me play. So it's always nice to put on a good performance for them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the great talk, and wish you all the luck in the coming season.
Thank you.
So there you have it. I just want to say, right at the beginning of the interview, I kind of messed up his name a little. It's not Tobi Antigha. It's Tobi Antigha. So I apologize, Mr. Antigha, for that.
Tobi Antigha, and it's Tobi with an I. Tobi with an I. All right. Thank you, Dylan, for getting out to the field and doing that interview. And that brings us...
Should I do the song? Should I do the song?
You have a song?
Should I do...
Let's do it.
Tobi Antigha, man, I want to see ya score a big 6. I don't know.
No.
It's good. It's getting there. There. So, guys, last week, you caught me off guard. I had to do the opening for what's coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I need a little redemption. Can I get some redemption from you?
You want to try it again?
I'm going to try it out.
Okay. Here you go.
All right. Ready? Here's a little segment we like to call the Rouge. The Rouge is 1 point in the CFL. And here on the Riders Outsiders, we're going to take this opportunity to point out one thing about the CFL this week. Because everybody's got a point and everybody's got a Rouge.
Huh.
Partial credit. It's the Rider Outsiders. No S on Riders. That's fine. Your enunciation was a little here and there, but who am I to say?
I thought I brought it.
It was a good effort. Who's up first? Bringing out the Rouge. Let's hear your point.
All right, I'll give you guys a Rouge here. We got Johnny Manziel, and we got Hamilton, Montreal. Now I'm just going to say, when you see somebody put up a Mackenzie King on the scoreboard, or for our American listeners, the Ulysses S. Grant, when you see half a hundo up there, you're thinking, whoa, is this team running up the score? Are they being poor sports? But I don't really think that Hamilton was running up the score, because in that game, they scored 28 points to nothing in the first, and then by the second half they were up 38-3. So I think they kind of started to pump the brakes. But you see it in college ball. You see it sometimes where a team will just run up the score on the other team. What do you think? Do you think they should just play hard on every play, or do you think that is there a little bit of sportsmanship in professional sports?
I'll jump in. The only reason you put the foot on the brake at all is so you don't get injuries. You might pull some guys out, they might be a little dinged up, but especially when you're playing a divisional game, you want to beat them up as much as possible and get as many points, because if you end up in a tie and it goes down to the for and against during the series, you need to come up on top there. So they got 40-some points on them.
50-11.
Head coach for the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, once, probably more than once, was accused of running up the score. And I remember one of his comments was, I'm going to call plays that aren't going to score points. I'm not going to change the way I coach because the other team can't stop us. And I think that's it to a T. If you don't like the score getting run up, you should probably stop them from scoring touchdowns. And
that's a very John Madden comment from you there, Dylan.
Do we lose Dylan from the show?
No, I'm losing. Connection's a little vagina clouds. looming overhead.
Regina clouds.
Might be raining.
We got, the weather here. It's this way, it's that way. My roof, 1 point.
1 point.
That I want to make.
Nice and tight.
Nice and tight. And you know what? It was alluded to earlier. But the point I want to make is about Zach Collaros. He looked so much more confident than Brandon Bridge. It was like watching two different offenses. And I mean, essentially, that's exactly what it was. Collaros threw, whereas in those same situations, Bridge seemed afraid to throw the ball to get the receiver out of coverage. Collaros could throw into tight coverage. Bridge seemed to avoid throwing into tight coverage. When Bridge would scramble, which seems to be his strong point, he wouldn't seem to find an open guy. When Collaros would scramble, he would do exactly that. He'd find a guy to dump it off to or get rid of it before a sack. And Zach Collaros, after this game, I'm 100% sure that going forward, our best shot at winning is with Zach Collaros. So let's hope he does not get injured anyway.
Knock on wood. All right. Guys, I know we try not to get too negative here. But Kavis Reed. He has 20 years of experience in the CFL, from playing to being a number of different coaches to being a head coach, now a GM of Montreal. If this Manziel experiment doesn't work, please, Montreal, they have to move on from Kavis Reed. And I'll say it now, if Manziel doesn't get Montreal a playoff spot, Reed will not be an Alouette next year.
That's a fair assessment. I want to say this real quick because you brought up some scars for me. Kavis Reed was the Saskatchewan Roughriders special teams coordinator in 2009 during the Grey Cup. The last play of that game, field goal kick defense, Grey Cup, game winner potential here. And you let too many men onto the field. I don't care who the 13th player was. That was all on Kavis Reed, as far as I'm concerned. His whole job was special teams coordinator. I remember we had 2 time count violations back-to-back on the same field goal attempt earlier that year, where we ended up going 10 yards back and missing a field goal. I mean, it was unreal. He was the worst special teams coordinator I'd ever seen. How he still had a job in the CFL after that season, I'm not going to disagree with you on your assessment in him in Montreal.
Yeah, he just keeps getting promoted. It's crazy.
He must be doing something right. I just remember the 2009, and it was a rough ride.
All right, that weak clapping you hear in the background means it's time for the meh of the week. Bryce, lead us off with your meh of the week.
Well, my meh of the week, I maybe alluded to it a little bit earlier, but was the Ottawa game. Ottawa, Toronto. Ottawa just lies down. Lets Toronto score like 22 points in the fourth quarter. And then they come back, and Bethel Thompson throws up that prayer to Edwards and wins the game with 1 second left on the clock. That's got to be the biggest meh of the week, I think. I mean,
that was exciting.
Think it was exciting, but it's a meh for Ottawa. Like how?
Oh yeah, an Ottawa fan would find that extremely disappointing.
Exciting football, but if you're an Ottawa fan, ooh, that would be
the inability for
something to watch.
Dylan?
Sorry if I'm interrupting. My connection is all over the place. That's my meh of the week, is my connection this week. Not able to get all the right points in at the right time. No, my meh of the week, again, maybe it's sounding like a broken record. I can't quite recall the minor details of my mez previous weeks. But those short yardage plays, Riders, oh my God, get into the end zone already. There's no excuse. There's none. There's no excuse. There's none. Plunge, run, get a running back in there, jump over the bloody line, use a fullback to block, go to the tight end, play action, do something. For the love of God, if I see us get stuffed on that goal line or a turnover on downs one more time, I'm just going to walk down to the field and try out for the team and get a first down.
Well, you could hear with the open mic game, you could actually hear Watford there on the sidelines while they were reviewing that touchdown plunge. He goes, "Oh, I really need this one. I really need this one. We need this one." Because he knows. He knows he's in deep water if he can't get this 1 yard. That's his lone job. He's not even holding field goal kicks. He's just plunging on short yardage. Good
and I think
man.
Bridge should have had those. It should have been Bridge.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Getting kicked out of the Rider office because they wouldn't expect. Mitch, what do you have for Man of the Week?
I'm going to leave that one in there because that sounded ridiculous. Okay, Man of the Week. You trade
I don't
away.
even hear those.
You trade away your starting defensive lineman, 2 first-round picks, and you get 4 interceptions from your quarterback. Johnny Manziel, how is that not the Man of the Week? That's the worst performance he could dream of. And I'm hoping he gets better, but definitely Man of the Week.
Johnny Manziel.
All right, and that takes us to predictions. Well, there's no Rider game, guys. We got 3 games to do here for predictions. First up, Thursday, Edmonton at British Columbia. Who do you like, Bryce?
I'm going to go with Edmonton. Just watching Riley connect with Walker there, and BC's just, I don't think they're going to be able to do it, even at home. I'm going to go with Edmonton for the win.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're the second best team probably in the league. Dylan?
I'm going to just go a different route. I'm going to say BC gets the win at home because I think BC remains calm. Wally Buono is a hell of a coach, and I think they're going to come back stronger than anybody's expecting after a couple big losses here, and I think they're going to shock the Eskimos.
All right. Well, let's hope so. Friday, Hamilton at Winnipeg.
I'm going to take Winnipeg at home. Hamilton's a team out in the East, and they haven't had a lot of luck coming out to the West and getting wins. So Winnipeg looks pretty strong. I'm going to go Winnipeg at home for the win.
Dylan?
I'm going to go Hamilton. The momentum from last week. They're just carrying it right over.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg's a good team, but with Manziel moving out of Hamilton, I think Masoli is going to play his best ball, and that's going to continue. Hamilton gets another win. Saturday wraps it up. Montreal at Ottawa. Let's start with Dylan this time. Who do you like?
Oh, boy. Got to pick Ottawa because of just last week. I said Manziel was going to play a better game this week than he did last week, but they're not going to win, I don't think.
I agree with you. Bryce?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ottawa at home there. Montreal is going to have some growing pains, but I think they're going to be good growing pains. Once they grow out of the pains, I think they're going to have a pretty good quarterback in Montreal. But Ottawa for the win at home.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Any final words? We'll go, Bryce.
I'm just excited to see Caleros get under center and be in the game and have like a real starting quarterback for the Riders. I think this is the move in the new direction, and we're going to see a whole new Rider team.
Well, he'll have a week to heal up even further before they play. We got Calgary in 2 weeks, which is not going to be easy. Last word goes to Dylan.
Yeah, we got Calgary in a couple weeks after the bye, and I think it's going to be perfect timing for Zach Collaros. After sitting and watching for 4 weeks, coming back, he played pretty good, didn't get the win. He's going to be hungry for this bye week. He's going to be hungry when the Stamps and their star BM come back. And I tell you what, the Riders are going to beat Calgary. As soon as right after the bye week, the Riders are going to beat Calgary, and it's going to be rough.
So Calgary's O is going to go. Is that what you're saying?
It's going to go right down the toilet, along with BM, if you know what I'm saying.
That's the show for this week. For Bryce Wiles and Dylan Robson, I'm Mitch Wiles, and this was the Rider Outsiders.